Hello, Comets Sports fans, and welcome to Beyond the Buzzer. I'm Ayden Crowley, and last week in Comets Sports was somewhat of a light week. Although we did have a headlining event, the Comet wrestling team played their Final Four state tournament match against St. Ed's, but we'll get more into that Saturday. The boys basketball team had their senior night Friday against West, where they came away with the win 68-40. The interesting thing about this is that the Comets could play West again if they're able to beat St. X in their tournament opener. We play the winner of West and St. X. But let's talk about what happened last week before we jump ahead. The Comets won that game, like I said, 68-40, a blowout victory where Eddie Puisis had 17 points, Carlos Lewis had 12, both on their senior nights. Big performance from them. And the surprising thing is Eddie got 17 points in just about 3 quarters. He went down in the fourth quarter with an ankle injury, but I'll talk more about that when we get to the Princeton game on Tuesday. After Friday, it brings us to Saturday, where we had somewhat of a busy day. The wrestling team advanced to the state Final Four, where they wrestled against the nation's third-ranked St. Ed's, where they fell in the Final Four, but still a tremendous season from the Comet wrestling team. Good job to them advancing again to the state Final Four, where they lost to St. Ed's. That information was brought to you by the MHS Chronicle. Good job, good story. You should read it. It was a good job by them. And that brings us to the girls' basketball game, where it was senior night for them, and they were able to get the victory 66-29 against Sycamore on their senior night. Samari had another solid 15. She's just been good all year, super consistent. It was just a good overall performance from the Comets. But the final score doesn't really matter in this game if you think about it. The Live for Liz game being that Saturday, that was more important. That was in the forefront of both teams' minds, and we were able to raise a ton of money, and it was just a happy time, and the Live for Liz game had a huge positive impact, and it was just a great game. Comets getting the victory 66-29. The next time that the girls basketball team plays is February the 23rd, a Thursday, where they play their first tournament game against the winner of Mount Healthy and Amelia. That game, Sammy Puisis will be back, hopefully, to play in that game coming off of an ankle sprain. Again, they play next Thursday. They get extended amount of time off. They play Thursday, February 23rd. The boys basketball team then traveled to Princeton, a very good Princeton team, and were able to sneak by with the victory 50-44. A 6-point win for the Comets, and it was hard fought and won. Total fouls from both teams was a combined 46 team fouls. The Comets got to the free throw line 35 times, making 22 of them for a 63% performance from the free throw line. That's one of the reasons why I think they were able to pull away with the victory, along with the fact that they held Princeton to 29% shooting from the field. The Comets likewise also shot 29%, but again, that 35 appearances from the free throw line and making 22 of them was a huge impact. A big thing to mention is that the Comets out-rebounded Princeton 40-25. And Princeton, they're just big. Darius Baisley, verbally committed to Ohio State, is 6'8", although he did only play 11 minutes due to foul trouble, as you can assume, with 46 total fouls from both teams at the end of the game. But rebounding, getting to the free throw line, and just playing tough defense won the Comets the game. But it also cost them a little bit, injury-wise. And going back to the West game, Eddie Puisis sprained his ankle. Hopefully he'll be back for the first tournament game against the winner of Lakota West and St. X. That's when they assume he'll be back. Noah Peddledy hurt his toe in the Princeton game, and he'll be back for Sycamore. Tanner Canoe was back practicing after he hurt his hand on the game, just a scratch on his palm about right here. He was practicing yesterday. He looked fine. He seems to be good. And then Carlos Lewis and Jalen Johnson both had cuts on their hand. So, I mean, it was just a brutal battle from both teams, and the Comets were able to pull away with a big win, 50-44. Coming off of a somewhat light week, the Comets basketball programs will have arguably an even lighter week, where the girls team doesn't even play Saturday or Wednesday. They play Thursday, the 23rd, against the winner of Mount Healthy and Amelia in their first tournament game. The Comets play Sycamore, where they will be traveling to Sycamore for Sycamore's senior night. We'll look to crash that. That should be fun. And that's basically it for the Comets boys program for that week. They just play Sycamore on Friday, and then that's their last regular season game. They will get prepped for their first tournament game against the winner of Lakota West and St. X. This has been Beyond the Buzzer, and from my man behind the camera, you stay zesty, Comic Country. To get them to win, doing so well, dude.
You were doing well. I mean, you were like holding it you're laughing and
Yeah.
I'll leave it rolling.
Okay.
So like when you're done, like give it like count to 5. Just smile at the camera and then come back.